And here we go. Let me flip the screen over again. Can you all still hear me okay? Everything's good? Okay. This may be the most famous song that Kander and Ebb wrote. It was in a movie called New York, New York, but the movie was never really a great success, and the song truly outlived the movie.
Heart of it, New York, New York. I wanna wake up in a city that doesn't sleep, to find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. My little town, I'm melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. New York, New York. I wanna wake up in a city that doesn't sleep, to find I'm king of the hill, ahead of the list, cream of the crop at the top of the heap. My little
Now you have to realize they wrote that song for Liza Minnelli in the early mid 70s. Liza Minnelli was really someone that they loved writing for. They wrote two musicals for her, one which we're going to see again this morning. They had written The Act. She starred in Chicago while Gwen Verdon had throat surgery. And of course, her work in Cabaret. So she was truly someone they loved writing music for. Well, Lauren Bacall was another. You know, Lauren Bacall was in another musical called Applause in 1970. And the idea of getting Lauren Bacall back on stage in an old Tracy Hepburn vehicle about a woman newspaper writer meeting a sports writer, they thought it would be absolutely fantastic. It truly was the star power of Bacall. She was what led the show to have the success it had had. It's rarely seen because it's just not that wonderful. But this one song from it that was on the Tonys, it shows what Bacall could do, and it's really pretty terrific.
Live from Broadway, the 1981 Tony Awards continue.
This evening, we've learned that it hasn't always been easy for a woman to make her way in our business. Our hope is that from this era on, and era is spelled E-R-A, the stage doors will always be wide open. that in our business and your business too, the work will be done by men and women the way it was meant to be done, together. Here to celebrate the glorious problems inherent in the fact that there are two sexes is Lauren Bacall. In this number from the Tony Award nominee, Woman of the Year, she admits that she's one of the girls who's one of the boys.
May I have your attention, please? By the power vested in me by the Inkpot Saloon, I hereby dub Tess Hardy, occasionally known as Tessie Cat, former scourge of all mankind, as a newly elected member of the good old guys, and welcome to the club. Of defending misogynistic who reject all female boys, being wronged by these most mystic. Now and then some fraud is one of us.
Gee, thanks, fellas.
Wanna wrestle?
I'm one of the girls who's one of the boys, enjoying the jokes and the smokes and the noise. You wanna go fishing? Well, hand me the reel. I majored in poker, so shut up and deal. I'm one of the gals who's one of the guys, so put up your dukes and I'll blacken your eyes. Behind all the Gucci and pearls, I'm one of the boys, although I'm one of the girls. I'm one of the does who's one of the stags. I juggle a cruise when I lose on the nags. But get the max factor you find on my face. For barbershop bores, I'm a fabulous bird. One of the queens who's one of the drones. Just hand me the dice and I'll rattle your bones. In spite of the dress, the finesse and the poise, I'm one of the girls, although I'm one of the boys. I'm one of the girls who's one of the boys, enjoying the jokes and the smokes and the noise. You wanna go fishing? Well, hand me the reel. I majored in poker, so city crew. You wanna play snooker? Well, chalk up your cue. I'm one of the James, who's one of the Joes. You hold my cigar while I cut out of my nose. I play as a blacker, a lady enjoys. I've earrings and bracelets and various toys. But I love when I slip into ripped corduroys because I'm one of the girls. I am one of the girls. One of the girls who's one of the boys.
The thing about Bacall that's so fascinating is when you're working with her, you have to make it look like she's dancing. She doesn't really dance. They got her to look like she's moving. And in addition to that, she doesn't have the greatest voice. You have to give her character songs to sing. And it always works. She was royalty, frankly. She had a career long after everybody gave up on her. And she certainly was a personality. I saw her once or twice. Well, he wrote again for Liza Minnelli the story about a mother and daughter who, having a huge battle, they own an ice rink together. And what closed it wasn't bad reviews. It was the fact that Liza Minnelli had to enter rehab. She was not in great shape. And it wasn't really the most wonderful production ever, but people were willing to pay to see Liza Minnelli and Sheeta Rivera.
For mother and daughter, we certainly don't have a lot in common.
Maybe more than you think. Think about it.
I hate Mr. Whipple.
God, me too. I hate growing older.
Boy, am I with you.
You don't have to be a professor to see the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree.
I hate washing dishes. All that grease.
I hate Mrs. Carlucci.
May she rest in peace. There's more than a few things on which we agree. The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. For 9 months, I carried you under my arm.
For 9 months. Seldom, if ever, apart.
No wonder
I can be annoying.
Well,
Scream and fight.
sometimes I'm no lady.
Yeah, you got that right.
So the saying is true. Look at you, look at me. The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree.
Hey, we're fabulous. Come on down.
Me. I like to stroke the guy's chest.
Especially Italian.
Honey, they're the best. You don't need a sheepskin from Harvard to sea. The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree.
Me, I like a guy who'll scratch my back.
Try a little lower. Scratch my back. The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. For 9 months,
What?
at least I was never ignored. For 9 months, I gave you free room and board. It tops my bank.
I know I shouldn't say this.
Oh, be my guest.
We're not so very different.
I'm real depressed. Well, just move back to the cheap bag. There's no loving tea.
You open a pea pod, and guess what?
A pea. The apple doesn't fall very far. Very far from the
Now, right there, you have two actresses that Kander and Ebb loved writing for. Remember, Cheetah Rivera was in Chicago. She's in The Rink, and she will be in 2 additional musicals that were actually written by Kander and Ebb. They thought that her persona was ideal for the way that they wanted to present musical theater. Now, As the World Goes Round was a musical review that they also wrote a couple of interesting pieces for, and you may have heard this one, but you'll get a kick out of it. This is Marin Maisie. A beautiful song.
Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. But the world goes around. Sometimes you lose every nickel you had. But the world goes around. Sometimes your dreams get broken in pieces, but that doesn't alter a thing. Take it from me, there's still gonna be a summer, a winter, a fall, and a spring. And sometimes a friend starts treating you bad, but the world goes around. And sometimes your heart breaks with a deafening sound. Somebody loses, somebody wins, then one day it's kicks, then it's kicks in the shins, but the planet spins and the world goes round. Ah, the world goes round. Sometimes your dreams get broken in pieces, but that doesn't matter at all. Take it from me, there's still gonna be a summer, a winter, a spring, and a fall, the shins, but the planet spins, and the world goes around and round and round and round and round. The world goes around and round and round.
Now, in the context of that song, it's so poignant that it was Marin Mazzie. Marin Mazzie was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She continued to perform while she was undergoing treatment. She became an activist for the disease. She died, I guess it was 2 years ago. Broadway truly was enamored with her and her dedication to work while battling this tragic illness. In addition, I have a funny story about Marin Mazzie. She was in Ragtime. She had many, many parts, but she was in Passion, I believe, in 1994, and she won a Tony for Best Featured Part in a Musical. Now, the part required a nude scene, and at the time, my younger son, who was about 17 in high school at the time, we all went to see it. And when she was nominated for her Tony Award, he turned to me and said, "Dad, those were the best featured parts I ever saw in a musical." So there's a little humor about for Marin, but she truly was an incredible Broadway performer. She did the well-regarded revival of Kiss Me, Kate in 1999. She had the lead in Ragtime, and she continued to perform. And maybe one of her last stage performances was in the musical Next to Normal with her husband, Jason Danieli. Now, this song is comic relief. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but Kander and Ebb like to create songs that very much in the Hammerstein tradition are like one-act plays, and this certainly is.
You probably gathered by this point anyway. You know what I like doing best of all? I like singing songs where I get to play different kinds of characters. You know what I mean? I mean, all different types of people, which means that I'm constantly on the lookout for somebody interesting to sing about, so watch it. For instance, I used to have a girlfriend she was a terrific girl. She was a housewife, a suburbanite, extremely bright, and very, very pretty, but a depressed person. I mean, the girl was down. You know, being with this woman was inevitably a lugubrious experience. And we would meet, you know, and have lunch, and I would try and cheer her up, and nothing worked. And all of a sudden, one day, she arrived in a mist of euphoria. I mean, the woman was happy. Which naturally made me so curious, right? I said, "What happened to you? What's going on? Come on, tell. She told. She told me that she had found the secret to true happiness. Here's how she broke the news. Everyone's noticed the change in me. The startling, heartening change in me. I mean, look, no longer depressed. I am feeling my best, and I am totally in control. Though grim and excessively sad was I, and never organically glad was I. Now life is the berries, and cherries invaded my bowl. Harvey and the children are relieved. Oh, my girlfriends say it's not to be believed. And my secret isn't diet, drugs, or pills. Oh, nay. I've simply found a new routine to banish all my ills. I have my coffee in the morning, my brandy in the evening, and Arthur in the afternoon. I don't have any great days since I had my matinee days with Arthur in the afternoon. He had a small apartment in the center of town. I'd hardly say it was posh, but I got my gremlin and hurry on down to hear the banister squeak. The waterbed slosh, oh, you can have it every AM, every PM. But this, kids, it's in tune. Because you got Arthur. That's right, I said Arthur. Oh, there's nothing like Arthur in the afternoon. Oh, yes, I've been through S, dear, but I was unimpressed, dear. I needed some Arthur in the afternoon. They say that love is better with the stars in the sky. Love for Arthur and me. We start loving when the sun is high. From 1:45 to 2:45. Don't sit there and glower. Just pick another hour for round trips to the moon. You gotta try Arthur. I recommend Arthur. He's listed as Arthur in the afternoon. Hello, Arthur. Got a little headache. All my nerves are worn a little thin. Look, I was wondering if you had an opening, and if you do, could you squeeze me in? You do? 1:45? Well, I'll get ready to go to town. Gonna race my motor and you and that. So get your shopping cart out and go say play your heart out. But there's no sunsweet prune as healthy as Arthur. That's right, I said Arthur. You owe yourself Arthur in the
A little satire there. In any event, it's a really clever song, often done in Kander and Ebb reviews. But the next serious musical that they tackle, again, is written for Chita Rivera. The movie Kiss of the Spider Woman, about two men imprisoned in a Chilean jail during the 1970s political revolution in Chile, made for odd bedfellows, so to speak, when one very, very macho revolutionary is imprisoned with a young gay hairdresser who was put into jail because of approaching another man on the street. The production, it's a somber tale about two men in jail and, you know, how they develop this relationship together, but they fantasize, the gay hairdresser fantasized about movies that he used to watch. And whenever they were tortured or having a particularly bad time, the persona of this character would come to life in the persona of Chita Rivera.
Died, my mother had to work nights as an usherette in a cinema. She never complained. I, of course, adored it. It was a fabulous cinema. It had Egyptian decor. Since there was no one to look after me, she took me with her when she went to work, and she sat me in the front row. That's when I first saw my Aurora.
Shut up, you fool. Listen.
Oh, I don't hear what I don't want to hear.
They're bringing a prisoner back from interrogation. They're going to make us look at him to frighten us.
Well, I look, but I don't see. Deaf, dumb, and blind. You take my advice, Mr. Revolutionary. When you feel you've gone to hell in a handbasket, and the world in which you dwell's no paradise,
I've some counsel I can give. You need but ask it. I'm so very glad to share this good advice. You've got to learn how not to be where you are. The more you face the reality, the more you scar. So close your eyes and you can be a movie star. Why must you stay where you are? You've got to learn how not to see what you see. The slice of hell you call your life is harsh and mean. So why not lie beside me on a movie screen? Why must you see what you've seen? And if you find that you'll land in jail, a little fantasy will not fail. It's just as simple as ABC. Come on here, play with me, play with me.
You got to learn how not to do what you've done. The pistol shot can't kill if you unload the gun.
So build a palace where you're the Shah, and we'll embrace in that Shangri-La. If you run away, some matinee from where you are. Yeah. Come up here, lay with me. Turn off the lights and turn on your mind, and I can promise you, you will find you will like my plan, my sweetest babe, my leading man. And where do you
Now, another thing about the way Kiss of the Spider Woman was written, they wrote songs for this character who really has no other purpose in the musical but to comment on activity, very much like the way the MC was written in Cabaret. So these songs that Chita Rivera performed were far more entertaining, but they were a commentary on the activities of the play. I hope this isn't the same thing all over again. But
Deaf.
I didn't realize I had it in a bigger frame. I'm so sorry. Well, their next musical was Steel Pier. It was originally supposed to be a musical based upon They Shoot Horses, Don't They? But they never could get the screenplay rights to transition into musicals. So they wrote their own script with Susan Stroman as director and choreographer about an imaginary character who arrives in the minds of the people at a dance marathon in the 1930s. It wasn't the greatest musical ever. In fact, it was rather dull. But this is another great song that they wrote where you learn about a character who's one of the people dancing there. And this is the actress Deborah Monk.
was out of control. I truly believe that I am a modern day Carmen. In spite of the fact I do not habla Espanol. That girl was exactly like me. We share this philosophy. Olay, I say. I'm not the type who's ready for dating someone steady. I'm everybody's girl. On Sunday night it's Danny. On Monday it may be Manny. I'm everybody's girl. There's a point to my behavior, which is smart girls always share their riches. So if your heart succumbs, don't let it. You're certain to regret it. All others come and get it. I'm everybody's girl. I could never be a cowhand's girl. La 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 la. And you want to know why? Why? I just can't keep my calves together. I'm everybody's girl. Some old Greek called Aristotle said it. If you got it, why not spread it? So don't go rattling in these sabers, exerting any labors to share me with your neighbors. I'm everybody's I'm also double jointed. I'm everybody's girl. Don't it leaves a lot of fellas cursing. I'm a person needs dispersing. So to reaffirm my status, it's absolutely gratis to use my apparatus. I'm everybody's girl. Men and me are like pianos. When they get upright, I feel grand.
That's a great song from a rather mediocre musical, but you know, you get great things. So in 1996, Anne Reinking is approached by Walter Bobby from the New York City Center Encores to do a revival of Chicago. This was right after the O.J. Simpson trial, where people had seen that the press manipulated the jury. No one could quite believe the results of the O.J. Simpson trial. And Anne Reinking, who was the original replacement for Gwen Verdon, plus the girlfriend of Bob Fosse, agreed to choreograph and star in the musical along with B.B. Newirth. But Anne Reinking needed help. She wanted to teach the people who they were going to cast what dancing in Bob Fosse's style really looked like. So she went to Gwen Verdon, and it's always interesting that the mistress and the wife were always good friends, go figure. But she went to Gwen Verdon, and Gwen Verdon was the dance captain that taught people how to dance Fosse the way Bob wanted them to.
Billy Flynn's the name. Chicago's the game. It's the razzle-dazzle 20s, and I'm a lawyer. But I'm not the only criminal in the show. My prize clients are a pair of devious dames who go by the names of Velma Kelly and Roxy Hart. And, uh-oh, here they come now. So, hey, be careful. Watch your back and, you know, all that jazz.
Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town? And all that jazz, I'm gonna bruise my knees and roll my stockings down. And all that jazz, start the car, I know a whoopee spot where the gin is cold, but the piano's hot. It's just a noisy hall where there's a nightly brawl and all that jazz. You do. And all that jazz. Gotcha. Whoopee. And all that jazz. It's just a noisy hall where there's a nightly brawl and all that.
Anne Reinking very tragically died in December. She died in her sleep from a heart condition. She was visiting family in Seattle at the time. She had retired and moved to Paradise Valley, Arizona, which is in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. And on top of that, she really did everything she could to keep the Fosse dance spirit alive. Chicago also reinvented. Now, of course, no one knew when Chicago had that 2 weekend run at City Center Encores that it would then become the phenomenon that it has, now becoming the longest running American musical. The only musical that has run longer than Chicago is The Phantom of the Opera, and Chicago has been running now for 23 years until the Broadway shutdown occurred. But Chicago did something else. It reinvented the Broadway movie music. There you get the idea of what they did in Chicago. Let me see what's going on here. We'll get this going.
Having a feel laugh.
Anyway, that was Chicago. Bob Fosse, the style Bob Fosse felt all you needed was to have a dancer in black, and that was transferred to the movie.
She looks around
Now,
now.
this song, written by Kander and Ebb, Class, was cut from the movie.
The whole world's going low brow. Things ain't what they used to be.
Was in the original Broadway production. It was cut from the movie after it was filmed because the conceit of the movie was that all of the musical numbers were as if they were in the heads of the characters being imagined. And this was too reality based for the conceit of the movie. So it was sadly and appropriately so in terms of the way the movie was being created, left on the cutting room.
Mrs. Hart's behavior throughout this ordeal.
Curtains was the next musical. This is after the death of Fred Ebb. And, unfortunately, it was sort of an unfinished work, a very cute, clever one. The story of an out-of-town Broadway musical tryout where the lead, who everybody hated, is suddenly murdered. And the police detective in Boston who comes to solve the problem and solve the murder is someone who always wanted to be on the Broadway stage himself. And that was David Hyde Pierce.
Putting on a musical has got to be the most fulfilling thing a person could ever hope to do. You're a special kind of people known as show people. You live in a world of your own. The audience paid plenty to sit there and clap, hearing you sing, watching you tap. Did you know your dentist longs to be in show business? Your window washer wants to be a star. And though your analyst may never couch it that way,
Analyst couch.
you don't know how lucky you are. Some policemen and detectives dream of show business. They can't get arrested, but still they sit around the station and fancy this life. Oh, they jeer Sherlock Holmes and cheer Mac the Knife.
Ask your cleaning lady, don't you dream of show business to vocalize, stretch beside a bar?
Her affirmative shrug as she shampoos your rug, let you know how lucky you are.
There's a special kind of aura around a show person. Just ask the next waiter you meet. He walks with position, his voice is just grand.
He gives you the check, you give him a hand.
We're a special kind of people known as show people. We live in a world of our own. Our favorite kind of curtains, they rise and they fall. We're born every night at half-hour call. We can picture being anything but show people. For millions find the whole thing quite bizarre. But that up in our hearts when the overture starts helps us know how lucky we are.
Show people. Show people.
It's an honor and a joy to be in show business. I feel that spotlight hit me and I'm gone. At the last curtain, I know the show must
go on.
So willing to show people.
And
So willing to show people. So willing to show
That again is Deborah Monk, who we saw earlier. Now, there were several works that had been worked on that were unfinished because of Fred Ebb's death. And, well, so based upon a trial that actually happened in the South where a group of boys boarded a train, stole away, It was presented as a minstrel show, and they were all falsely accused of a murder. The events were really so fraught with bigotry and racism. But it was done with some aggressive high dancing and a lot of exciting showbiz antics. But I think it really created a lot of
Please welcome
discomfort for the
the
audience.
company of the Scottsboro Boys.
What story are we going to tell tonight?
We're going to tell a story of the Scottsboro Boys.
Chattanooga. Come and sing in Chattanooga. On the Southern Railroad line. On the Southern Railroad line.
I got up in the morning when my sleep was done, and I felt that cheery Chattanooga sun. Then I thanked the Lord above that I was still alive, and I waited for the 6:05. Come and sing in Chattanooga. And it chugga-chuggaed in, and I said, there you are, as I scrambled in the old boxcar. Then I settled back, believing that the world was fine. I was traveling on the Southern line. Come and sing in Chattanooga. Here now, I'm gonna see the world of the Southern Railroad line. And ain't no finer way to travel. Now you can take your B&O, and you can take your Santa Fe, and you can take your old Rock Island line, and throw them all away. And if the Pennsylvania calls, just say you want your money back. And if the New York Central's on the phone, tell them they're way off the track. Come and sing in Chattanooga. Come and sing in Chattanooga. Come and sing in Chattanooga. On the Southern Railroad line. On the Southern Railroad line.
Come on, boys, now, one more time.
Or you can take your B&O, and you can take your Santa Fe, you can take your old Rock Island line, and throw them all away. And if the Pennsylvania calls, say you want your money back. And if the New York Central's on the phone, tell them they're way off the track. Far away places, they're in my bones. I know the train schedules, when the freights leave, when they arrive. I can light a butt in the wind on top of a moving boxcar. I am free. I am free. I am free. There ain't a soul can hold me back, 'cause I am just as free as air. As long as I got legs and trains got wheels, I could ride me anywhere. And if the Lord above comes down and asks you where the hell I am, just tell him no one knows where he would go, 'cause I'm a boxcar baby lamb. Come and sing in Chattanooga. Come and sing in Chattanooga. On the Southern Railroad line. On the Southern Railroad line.
And of course, the real life story of these characters is not a pretty one. They were all charged with a murder that didn't happen. It's really a very tragic story, but yet set to music in an odd way. Another piece they had worked on for years, was a satirical play about greed and revenge, about a woman who was stood up at the altar, who comes back many years later to a town that is bankrupt. And she says, if you kill the man that stood me up, I will save the town from disaster. And this is Chita Rivera's last time starring in a Broadway musical. This is only about 4 or 5 years ago.
when you're young, feeling oh so strong. What can prove you wrong? Love and love alone. When the sun seems forever bright, what can dim its light? Love and love alone. So beware, young love, lost in a kiss. There's a truth, young love, simple as this. Every fond hello ends in goodbye. What seems certain to live will die. So enjoy all the time there is. If you're his, be his. Make each day your own. When tomorrow's come and your heart is stone, what has made it numb? Love and love alone.
And the Kennedy Center honors in 1998 might have been, as for many who received the honor, the highlight of their career.
John Kander and Fred Ebb have given us legendary musicals, from Cabaret in Chicago to Kiss of the Spider Woman. They've given us songs that are lovely, dark, and deep. So familiar now and yet still so fresh. We hear the first note and we know where we're going. The lyrics and the music are part of our cultural nervous system. But each time there is a chill that runs down our spine. These are not songs and stories of easy sentiment. On their Broadway, as in life, there aren't always happy endings. Creating these musicals was a breakthrough. Getting them produced was a miracle. Who would go to see this kind of show? As it turned out, all of New York, all of America, and all of the world. Together, they have created their own kind of opera, a new kind of musical theater. Mr. Kander and Mr. Ebb, thanks for everything, and all that jazz. Two theater men, two sides of the same story. John was the shy boy with a gift for the piano and a head full of all kinds of music. He composed all through high school and college, then left Kansas City for New York, New York. New York was Fred's hometown. He was already a smart talker. He had a way with words. He looked out on life and turned his rhymes into reviews, lyrics for nickels and dimes. John was playing other composers' show tunes until a publisher suggested he and Fred might have a dream in common. Fred threw out a lyric, John a tune. Razzle dazzle. The team of Kander and Ebb was off and running. Their first Broadway show was a modest hit, but it put their names up on the marquee and gave the big break to the kid they wanted in the lead, 19-year-old Liza, with a Z. 1930s Germany was an audacious setting for a Broadway musical. From the tiny stage of a seedy nightclub, their next show exploded conventions. It frightened, it dazzled, It chilled us to the bone. It won 8 Tonys, then 8 Oscars. Next stop, Chicago. A shady lawyer and the dames he defended in the Cook County Jail. It was a show about getting away with murder and becoming a celebrity for it.
Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town? And all that jazz, I'm gonna
A musical metaphor. It was bright and diamond hard.
and all that jazz.
In show after show, they beat back the boundaries with their uncommon themes and unlikely settings. From Zorba's village to the intrigue of revolution in South American jails.
And that's good, isn't it grand?
They dropped big characters into small worlds of dramatic force. There, they sing out at the edge of hope and despair and the grandest of possibilities.
I'd make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York,
And then, 30 years after it first bade us welcome, Cabaret was revived.
to see you.
Darker than ever and more disturbing, it tore the house down. It stands as proof they had created a classic. This year on Broadway, another revival, a runaway hit, another classic. In their long, imaginative run, Kander swung open the doors of the Wonder Life, invited us in, and ushered us to the edge of our seats. A classic collaboration in the fast company of the great Broadway teams, John Kander and Fred Ebb.
They say that the true measure of a work of art is the test of time. Well, in 1966, Cabaret by Kander and Ebb was a Broadway hit. In 1998, Cabaret is a hit once again. And tonight, joined by the dancers of another Kander and Ebb classic, Chicago, is a man who won a Tony this year playing the master of ceremonies in Cabaret. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Cumming.
Welcome, bienvenue, welcome. Fremda, étranger, stranger. Glücklich zu sehen, je suis enchanté. Happy to see you, bleibe, reste, stay. Welcome, bienvenue, welcome. Im Cabaret, au Cabaret, au Cabaret. Meine Damen und Herren, Mesdames et Messieurs, Ladies and Gentlemen, guten Abend, bonsoir, good evening. Wie geht's? Comment ça va? Do you feel good? Yeah, I bet you do. Ich bin euer Konferencier, je suis votre compère. I am your host. Ich sage willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Im Cabaret, au Cabaret. Beauvais, who knows? Tonight they may lose the battle. Hello, stranger. Je suis enchanté. Happy to see you. Bleibe restes day. Wir sagen willkommen,
Well, there you are. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit about Kander and Ebb. I'm just going to look and see if there's any questions um, that I just need to answer. Um, anyway, if there's anything anybody wants to know, I don't see anything I have to answer specifically. I hope it was something everybody enjoyed today because I love doing it. And I'll see you all next Friday. I will send the link out later on today, hopefully. And see you all next Friday. Meanwhile, take care, stay well, stay warm, and anything else you can do. If anybody has a question, don't hesitate to reach out. Also, tell your friend, if you have a friend who you think would enjoy it, I'd love to give them a chance to see what Friday morning is like. So send it out, let people know, and I'd love to talk to you all again soon. Take care, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.